This week's video is how to troubleshoot your heating system. You might want to run through this before you even turn the heat on and check some of these things. Or if you just have a failure and it's not working, these are real quick and easy fixes to get you back up and running without calling out a service technician. They're going to charge you $500. Half of this stuff you can do for completely free. The other half is going to be $20, $30 part. Easy to fix yourself, and you can get it online, delivered next day, or you can go to a Johnstone or any plumbing supply. Everybody's got one near them. They might not know where it is, but you just Google it, you'll be able to get one. So we're going to take a look at this heater. So in this home, here's how this heating system's laid out. I have the manuals pulled out here just to reference and show to you. Every heater is going to come with one of these. If you don't have one, don't panic. All you have to do is get the model and serial number. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And you can get it in a PDF form online. Every one of these books is going to have an error code section. Slow, amber, fast, amber, floor blinks, tube blinks, so on and so forth. That's going to tell you exactly what is wrong with this system. Now if we come down here and look at the front of the heating system, the bottom door is going to have a window. If you look through this window, you will see your blink codes. Now let's open up the system. Okay, so I have the top door off. Now I'm just going to take the bottom door off to show you how to do it. And it just pulls out and put it aside really easy. Now, right there is your model and serial number. If you need to order any parts for this thing whatsoever, this is a York system. You just type in York and that model and serial number, and your replacement parts are going to pop up. Now I know when you look in here initially, it's very intimidating, especially to someone who doesn't have any training. But there are three very, very easy things to do to make sure that your heater's working. I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Here is your pressure switch. That's your flame sensor. Here's your hot surface igniter. And if you look off to the side, somewhere in here, you're going to have a filter. Now, those are mainly the only things that go wrong with these systems. You can have other things. You can have a bad gas valve, or your circuit board itself could be bad. But in my experience, 99% of the time, it's one of those things I just pointed out. So here are the only two tools you should need to do this. You have a screwdriver and a piece of sandpaper. Now this is plumbing sandpaper. You can use any kind of sandpaper. You're just going to be cleaning the flame sensor with that. Now, if you have an issue, the first thing you should do is check the filter. So I'll go over there and I'll show you how to pull that out. So filters are supposed to be changed 3 or 4 times a year. Most people don't do it. You gotta change it at least once a year. I would say right before you start your heater up would be a great time to change it. But all you really do is you pull this out. See how dirty and mucky that is? You put a new one in. Now, if you're getting a code that says, not enough airflow, it's probably your filter. One of the quick ways to check that is you turn the system off, which again on this one we have a light switch up there that controls this heating system. You turn that off, you pull your filter out, you wait 5-10 minutes, and with the filter out you turn it back on and let it turn on. If it turns on and runs, then you know your clogged filter was causing your system to go down. Problem solved. Your heater's back up and running. Now your number 2 thing to go to would be your flame sensor. Now if your code book has anything to do with flame sensor, you go to that. Now all you have to do is you take your screwdriver and you loosen that screw right there off. Now I'm going to put the camera down and take that out, and I'll show you how to clean this real quick. Okay, so all I did was take this one screw out of that flame sensor. Now you just pull it out and disconnect this, and there's your flame sensor. Now you can see how it's all burnt and charred and gross. So we're going to go over and clean this real fast. Okay, so here it is. Now I got this, and I got my sandpaper, and you just clean it the best you can. Just wrap the sandpaper around it, get it nice and clean, just back and forth. Do this for a minute or two, just till it's nice. now looks all shiny and doesn't have any of that buildup on it anymore. Okay, so all I did was put it back into the hole, put the screw back in, and then put that prong back on. Now what you would do is you would put your doors back on and turn your heater on. If you were getting a code that said there's a problem with the flame sensor, that should resolve it. Now that flame sensor is just a piece of metal that gets hot. They do go bad from time to time. Usually cleaning it will resolve the issue, but you might have to replace it. If you do have to replace it, they are $3. You can order them online. You can go to your local supplier. Again, you just Google HVAC parts and your zip code, and there's going to be a place within a couple miles of you. But again, you can order it from an Amazon or just any kind of repair shop and get it in the next day. They're right around $3, which is way, way cheaper than paying $400 for a service guy to come out. The service guy comes out, he's going to read your code book, and if it says flame sensor, that's what he's going to do. One of the other things that could go wrong with it is if your code book says pressure switch, it'll say open pressure switch or closed pressure switch. That is this thing right here. Now this again is a very, very easy fix. I always suggest taking a picture of it before and after, just so you know which, there's only two prongs, but it's better to you pull prong 1 off, you pull prong 2 off, and then you just disconnect this hose from here, which just pulls right off. Now it's these 2 screws. You just unscrew those screws and it comes off. Okay, so I have that disconnected. I just took the screws out and put those hose off. Now here's your pressure switch. That's all it is. It's just a piece of plastic with the hose. Now you can see that on there. If you have to buy a replacement pressure switch, you have to get that one. The .075 is important. You might have a .5 or it's going to have different codes, but as long as your replacement part matches up to that. And again, if you go off the model and serial number and Google it, you'll find exactly what you need. These pressure switches are about $12. Now all you do is you put the new one right back on, hook the hose up, and put your 2 prongs back on, and then turn the system back on and see what happens. And there you go, I hooked it back up. All I did was put these 2 screws back in the new pressure switch, put your 2 prongs back on, and just pushed my hose back on there. Again, if your code book at all was reading pressure switch, that's all you have to do. Hook it back up, run it, and your heat should be back up and running. The only other thing that I pointed out, which we'll get into at another video, is this hot surface igniter. All there is the 2 screws on there, and it's a replacement part, but there's, the hookup prongs here and this and that. I'll go through more in-depth on another video. You got your fan here, you got your big squirrel cage downstairs. Those are more in-depth repairs. But again, your filter, $3. Your flame sensor, $3. Your pressure switch, $12, $15. Now, even if you just went through and replaced those 3 things, you're under $50, and odds are that is going to get your system back up and running. Now those are 3 very simple fixes that you can do with just a screwdriver and a piece of sandpaper. Anybody can do those 3 things. It takes no formal training. I'm going to post some more in-depth videos of replacement of gas valves, replacement of blower motors, the circuit board replacement, that kind of stuff. But this video can be done by anybody. It takes no formal training to do those 3 things. It's going to save you $500–600 to try it yourself first. Go through it and try it. If it doesn't work, you can always call that plumber or watch one of my further videos, and I'll show you some other tricks and things you can do to get it up and running. With that being said, these produce heat. Be careful when you're in there. Make sure your power is off before you do anything in that system. And if it was running and just shut down, give it time to cool down before you start sticking your hand in there. It's hot. You want any more tips or pointers, put them in the comments below. Please subscribe, please follow. I hope you like this video.